Who's ready for a big old bowl of red beans and rice? Because this is the best thing north of Louisiana. All right, the first thing we want to do for our red beans and rice, we've already got our Holy Trinity diced up. I'm going to go ahead and get our Andouille sausage here. I'm using Country Pleasing. They're made down in South Mississippi, right below Jackson. I can tell you, if you're ever in the area, be sure to stop in. He sells these sausages nationwide in Walmarts and a lot of other places, but I can tell you now, the batch sausage that they do on the inside that they only sell in store, the smoked pimento cheese, the smoked chicken salad, everything is great. Be sure you stop at Country Pleasing. You might even be able to buy some Heath Riles BBQ Rub while you're there. Let's get this open and get it diced up. All right, this is totally optional in your red beans and rice. I'm using some Ham Shanks already diced up that my local grocery store had. Sometimes you can use ham hocks, you can use turkey necks, turkey wings. I like a little bit of shredded meat in my red beans and rice. It gives it a little bit more flavor. So I'm gonna kind of go through these Ham Shanks here, and I mean, yeah, those are all good. Just kind of cut them down a little bit, make sure if there's any bones in here, like there's a bone right there, I'm not gonna put that in there because I wanna be sure I shred all this meat up. So I'm just gonna keep going through it. You can leave a little bit of fat if you want to in here. Of course, that'll come out. It's gonna give that red beans and rice a little more flavor. Now, if you can find some tasso, be sure to use some tasso. They just didn't have any at the store, so that's why I'm just dicing this ham up. I want it to all shred fine in there, and I don't want it to take forever. I'm gonna kind of help it along here by cubing it up into some smaller pieces. All right, we are over here, and as you can see, we've got our old aluminum pot here. This is not an old school aluminum pot. I really wish it was. It's not a Magnolite. This is a Macware. You can get them off Amazon. This right here is the 15 quart, I believe, is what this one is. They make, yes, it's a 15 quart. And so I have the 18, and I have the 13, and I have the 11. I use them all the time. I really, really love these pots. So if you're looking for your pot, they don't make the Macwares anymore. Maybe you can find one somewhere, or the Magnolites anyway. They don't make them anymore. You might be able to find one at a yard sale and clean it up. But these make great pots. It's hard to get anything to stick in them. So let's get our griddle fired up here, or our burner, and we're gonna get ready to cook some red beans and rice. All right, now that our oil is good and hot in our pot, I'm gonna get this 1 pound of sliced andouille sausage in here, start rendering it down. As your sausage browns, you have a choice here. There is no right or wrong way or anything of how you want to do this red beans rice. There probably is wrong ways, but there's 10 ways to get to red beans and rice, if not more is what I'm trying to say. So as you brown your sausage, once you get them brown, you can take them out, then add your Holy Trinity in, and brown it up, then add back in your beans and everything. It's kind of up to you of how you do it. I'm gonna build layers of flavor, so once the sausage starts getting good and brown, I'm gonna throw in the onions and the ham and celery and bell pepper and let it all sweat down together, and then start adding my liquid to it and build it that way and add the beans and boil it. But you do it however you wanna do it. Now, once that sausage gets a little bit of brown on it like that right there, you got a choice. Like I said, you can take some of that grease out, you can leave it in. I'm gonna go ahead and drop in my ham now. Ham Shanks. Kind of get it throwed around here. I'm gonna let that go a few minutes before I put in my Holy Trinity. All right, right now comes the fun part. I'm gonna take, you see we're starting to build a little bit of crust in the bottom of this pot. I'm gonna take, and you see this oil here? I'm gonna get in here with this paper towel, and I'm gonna get a little bit of this oil out of here. Look at that. Now that's how you get some of the oil out of your pot. Now you remember, you want to leave some of that I got 1 bell pepper, 1 onion, 4 stalks of celery diced up. Get it in here. Now you see all that on the bottom there? We're gonna start pulling that off. Let them onions and peppers start sweating down. It'll start lifting some, and then we'll add a little chicken broth. So while this is cooking now, I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with a little bit of garlic jalapeno rub. All right, and then of course I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of our Cajun Creole garlic butter. Get a little bit of that flavor in there. Woo, wish y'all could smell that. See how it's starting to pull off the bottom now, all that? And get all that off there. The good thing about red beans and rice, it's almost time to make a drink. Because if you're gonna be standing here cooking, you may as well put something in your hand. You know what I mean? You see how that pulled that off the bottom right there now? We're just gonna keep letting it cook for a few more minutes. As everything sweats down, I got a couple tablespoons of minced garlic here I'm gonna go in with. That's totally optional if you wanna add that garlic, but I like a little garlic. Actually, a lot of garlic. Woo, I wish y'all could smell that garlic. It's smelling good in this good old Cajun dish. The one thing that when you make red beans and rice, you can go the easy route and go get some canned beans. That's all fine. There's actually a brand out there called Blue Runner out of Louisiana that makes a red bean kind of mix in a can. And it's great to go in and thicken up your red beans and rice if you don't want to mash into your beans. So we took our Camellia beans last night about 9 o'clock, rinsed them and washed them very good, let them soak in water all night long. We've got them rinsed off now. And look at that, they are ready to go in here. And we're gonna boil them down. This is gonna be so good. All right, now we've got that liquid cooked back down out of this, starting to stick a little bit more in the bottom, as you can see right here. So I'm gonna go in, see how that just starts boiling right there? It just come right up. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump in the rest of this whole thing of chicken stock. Now, once I get that chicken stock in there, get that stirred around. I'm gonna turn my burner up just a little bit here. Let it come back to a boil. As it comes back to a boil, I'm gonna start adding these beans here that we've got. There's one more in there I missed. Let's get these dumped in, add some more chicken stock to cover them up, maybe a little more seasoning and some bay leaves. We're gonna let this start simmering. So you wanna make sure you got enough water and liquid over your beans. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another whole chicken stock in here. Now we can always go add more liquid if we need to. And I think this right here should be fine for now. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little more of that garlic jalapeno and a little more of that Cajun Creole garlic butter. Now of course we gotta give this right here some bay leaves. Let's go 1, 2, 2.5. 2.5 little old bay leaves. And I'm pretty sure this might have to have a little more liquid in it, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For the time being, I'm gonna go ahead and slap a lid on. Now you know a while ago when we was talking about browning those sausages and taking them out and building it that way, these lids right here are designed, you can kind of throw your meat in here, whatever you're doing, and dump it back in here, kind of dump your juices in, put your lid on. These pots are great, you can't beat them. Everybody ought to have at least 2 in their kitchen, everybody. All right, our red beans and rice have been boiling for about 45 minutes. And I'm gonna get in here and take that lid off, and you can see we've kind of lost some of our liquid here, boiling down. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in some more chicken stock. I'm gonna go with another 32-ounce bottle, and we're gonna keep letting it reduce down and getting those beans tender. Let's get this lid back on. Woo, that's a little warm, a little warm. All right, you can see our red beans and rice here. I've turned down my cooker. Now, I added another almost 32 ounces of chicken stock to this and let it keep going. And as you can see, as that it reduces down, it naturally thickens itself. I hadn't mashed up any beans or anything. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get these bay leaves out right here. But I hadn't even mashed up any beans in this. The key to red beans and rice is cooking it low and slow, letting it boil, keep adding your liquid, and just keep going. They're like I said before, there is no right or wrong recipe on good red beans and rice. Now I got my bay leaves out. Now I'm gonna thicken this up just a little more. I've got my potato masher. I'm not even gonna pull any beans out of here. I'm just gonna go in here, kind of mash my way around. I mash those beans up. I'm gonna get this lid back on this and let this simmer a few minutes and thicken up. And we're gonna be ready to make us a good old bowl of red beans and rice. Woo, it's been a long evening. Our red beans and rice has been cooking a little over 3 hours. We wind up adding another chicken broth. We let it reduce down, we mashed these beans, and I can tell y'all, we got ourselves some traditional red beans and rice that anybody from Louisiana would be proud to serve on their table. So I've got a plate of rice here, and it's time to dump some up. But before I do that, let's recap a little bit. I took a 1-pound pack of country pleasing Andouille sausage, diced it up. I took some ham shanks that was already cut. It had a few bones in them, so I deboned everything and diced up the ham shanks. I then turned around and diced up 1 bell pepper, 1 onion, and 4 stalks of celery. I got my Holy Trinity in my pot after my sausage and ham was sauteing a little bit, and I took a little bit of that grease out. And then I added those soaked Camellia beans in there, those red kidney beans. Throw the chicken broth to it, some of this Cajun Creole and garlic butter. And there's really not but one thing left to do. Let's get in here and throw some on this rice and try a bite. Let's get in here on it. I've got some rice already scooped up. I'm gonna take my good old ladle here. Let's move that out of the way. I wish y'all could just smell this. It smells incredible. Kind of get us 2 big helpings here. Oh yeah. Woo! Give me a little more. I can tell y'all, that's a man-sized bowl right there of red beans and rice. Now all we need is a little bit of that chopped green onion on top, and it's time to go to work. If you don't make this, you ain't doing yourself right. Man, that is good. If you like what we're doing, be sure to like, subscribe, follow along our channel. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, and of course, YouTube. I'll see you next week with another video. For now, I'm gonna eat some red beans and rice.